Yeah, man. I don't know. It's all good. And so do you want to go live? I'll retweet us on mine.
Well, we're already live. So
oh, we are? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
oh,
well
damn.
done.
All right,
Yeah.
hold on. Then let me do this. I literally thought that I had no idea that we were live. That was an actual cold open, not a
That
fake
really
cold
was.
open.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on. Let me turn that off. All right, great. Well, look, you got another episode of Dad's Bet Baseball, and I am amped because I'm having both an energy drink and a Sun Cruiser. Future friend of the pod, Sun Cruiser, maybe.
I haven't had Sun Cruisers. I'm a big what is it?
High Noon.
No,
Well,
I like High
drink.
Noons. Surfside.
Surfside.
Like
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the Surfsides too. I started having these because they have them at our pool club. So I was like, oh, these are really good. Anyways, we have an awesome show. We always have awesome shows, but we really have an awesome show that I'm excited about. Kyle Bennett's going to come on, who is really good, does a whole bunch of content and media, takes his mom to Phillies games, and it's adorable. And no, he has like reaction videos to things that happen with her, and it's fantastic. He also does a lot of lacrosse stuff. That actually how I met him, because I got snuck into the press box at Gillette for a PLL game, and he was like, "Who's this?"
Humble brag.
Yeah, no. Well, there was like 8 people at the thing, so don't worry about it. Like it's anyway. So we are going to so we're gonna have him on. We're gonna talk some Phils. First thing though, well, let me ask you. First, should I show people?
I think we should make a bet. I think that's the first thing we should do. Yeah.
I see Buzzy already in the chat. Buzzy, this goes out to you. This is going to be a good way to kind of help on as you continue to learn and become a Jedi. Let me share my screen. So here's what's going to happen. So the bet that we're going to be looking for, share screen on, we're going to start with Handgraphs. I do not want the audio because what if it was like, weird stuff. All right, you can see my screen. All right, great. So I did a little bit of the advance.
Where you were watching, but go on.
Not on here. So I by the way, if you're just joining us, Dad's Bet Baseball, Adam Rosenberg, CJ Buskey, aka Slippin' Jimmy. We are here to talk about sports, to talk about betting, to talk about baseball. And soon we will be talking about baseball and football, but more on that later. All right, so I have a filter within Handygraphs. Handygraphs is our site, www.handygraphs.com. It has all the deep analytics all pulled into one dashboard. It was intended to solve the problem of, hey, I don't want to go to 6 different sites and find stats. I also want to go on when I'm going on sites like HOF Bets or other sites. I want to be able to confirm what I'm seeing here and looking at from a trend perspective. This does it really well. So I have a filter that's called potential unders, and I use that to basically find pitchers that I think are in really good form. I do it with last 5, and I whittle down from there. There are a number of watch the games reasons of why I want to back the Braves tomorrow, but basically, Joey Wentz came up as one of the ones that is a good one to lean towards an under. He's actually been really good, former Tiger, now part of the Suicide Squad of Braves starters. Anyway, so I have them here. I'm looking at both the starters for tomorrow. Nolan McLean obviously has really great metrics from that one start. I will be fading Nolan McLean, not because of his stuff, but because it is his first road start. And I do that with all rookies. That is not just him. He should not feel like it's his fault, but there's other things about the Mets that are reasons why you're
feeling very anti-Mets today, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
There's a text exchange at 8 a.m. All right. So Joey Wentz, but if you want to double check it, Joey Wentz, the Mets, last 30 against the lefty. Let's see. Give me blue. Lots of blue. All right. And then the Braves, the last 30 plate appearances against a righty. A lot of red. Okay. So
I'll point out there too, by the way, Adam, you don't even need to go actually go back and forth to see, are the Braves playing a righty or the Mets playing a lefty?
Oh, I know.
It's right there for you, right on the screen.
It is right there. Well, I just like to do the click when I have it on the But yeah. But the so anyway, what I have done now is I've found a pitcher that I like. I found an angle that I like, and I've confirmed on the batting side that yes, I want to take the Braves. Now I'm going to go to Hall of Fame bets, and I'm going to Hall of Fame bets, which more than anybody else seems to have all the odds and stuff up very early, and I love it. I'm going to go down to this Braves game. I see that the Braves are very. It's basically this game's a coin flip. -104. That's worth a bet, by the way. But I'm going to get a little greedy. And the whole point of this is to kind of look at, well, what if I want to go a little extreme here and get a little bit more juice out of this? And that can happen by taking an alt run line. Part of the reason why I'm going to, an alt run line or reverse run line is when you take the dog in the bet, which the Braves, for lack of a better description, really are the dog, or the shorter fave.
Good clarifier there, because you could take an alt run line with the favorite, and it could be minus 2.5, minus 2.5.
Right. This is a reverse run line.
Reverse
so the Braves by default are getting the plus 1.5. The Mets by default are getting the minus 1.5. That's how you know. So the reverse run line is to give the team that is getting the plus 1.5, make them win by 1.5. And it's usually you can get some bonkers prices with. The other day, it didn't win. The Pirates won, but they didn't score any runs after the second inning, which was hilarious, by the way. But it was 3-1 for them to win by 2 in a very clear getaway game for the Jays, who were flying back home after it, which was absurd. I took that all day, did not win, but the stake was low and it was a great bet in my opinion. So I'm looking at so the thing that I'm looking at here, you go to batter form. One of the things that you want when you're taking a reverse run line on a dog is you want the batters to be in really good form. So we've already established that we like the pitchers here, but we want the batters to be in good form. So if you look at the last 10, yeah, I would have taken the Mets, and yeah, the Braves had started hitting, but the last 5, the Braves have continued to hit, and the Mets have kind of played their version of baseball that they play up and down, but the Braves are unequivocally definitely hitting right now. So what I then am going to do is I'm going to go to leaders. And look, I already did this here.
I don't believe, by the way, that would have updated, I think, from today's game yet from the Mets.
They did well, and then they fell apart after the 4th inning. They couldn't put stuff together. But same kind of thing is basically what's happening. So when you're seeing teams in good batting form, it generally means that they are getting that a guy is getting like 3 out of their 4 plate appearances. This is like consistently working. Plus, we saw the lefty splits. They've just not done well. They got to Gore today. And
I was going to say, like that's one thing too, when you look at the batter form, that's also like, so you just showed that in Handigraphs where you see like, wow, against lefties, they've been terrible in their last 30. Then you go to the last 5 batter form, you're like, oh, wait, okay. They seem overall okay. That's a good, just kind of watch the games, because then you'll just know if they're playing a righty or a lefty. Yep. But I always do kind of just a quick, like, you know what, I'm just going to go back to ESPN, Fangraphs, whatever, and just quickly see, like, did they face a bunch of righties lately? And they had like one lefty thrown in there. And then you go, oh, okay, so they're actually still not hitting lefties. It's just they had a string of right-handed pitchers that they were able to go against in the last, 2 or 3 games.
Yep. And as someone who's watched not only a lot of Mets, but a lot of Mets versus Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore has gone against the Mets 6 times in the last year, and consistently runs out of gas at the exact same time. Mackenzie Gore is arguably in way worse form than Joey Wentz. So, which is I never thought I'd say, but so I like this picture. I like that. Anyway, I'm seeing here what I'm able to find is that the Braves are plus 190 on the reverse run line. If I think that they win by 2 runs. And can really bomb on a rookie making his first road start, which I think is a fantastic angle. I could take that here. So I have that, and I have that in my slip, and I will take that on. You could actually look at how often they have been hitting this. Let's see. You can tell you they had a tough series against the White Sox, and it's it's always interesting to take this on at home, but I like the way that they're hitting. I like what they're doing. This Mets pitching is kind of
remember too, Braves. I mean, they've had the Mets number for literally their entire franchise's existence, but also
except for the only game that mattered. That's
true. Last season, but the Braves are still 7-3 against this Mets team already this season, and this is also a Braves team that was down 6-0 in Citi Field just last week and blew up David Peterson. Came back to win that game, and so. My point there just being is that like some teams just also kind of have other teams' numbers. And the last time that the Braves, I believe the last time they played them at home, I think it was a 3-game sweep. So yeah, that's just important to remember there as well.
So anyway, that's kind of it. I mean, you can go back and we have some of our stats and some of our things here, But yeah, that would be why and how I'm taking the Braves reverse run line tomorrow minus or it's a plus 190. So take that to win a unit. You can lay a unit, you could risk it. That's fine. That's aggressive. But I don't think you need to do that. Part of the reason why I go for some of these like very
depends
juicy,
on how your month is going. If you want to risk it,
I've been very, very good since last week, since I went to Vegas. Like the heater has not stopped. So I'm gonna keep riding it out. But I also have such an absurd amount of money on futures right now that it's just hilarious. I have a problem. So that is how we use this.
I can confirm this.
Yeah, dude. So my DK, I think I sent it to you, but it's like the amount at risk on my DK is like a tuition. And it's just like, and it's absurd. It's all futures. It's our baseball futures. It's like our NFL.
You literally need a separate bankroll just for futures. Like you
just
have like an entire bankroll for futures and then have your day-to-day.
I roll it in. Like, so when we won all that stuff on the Super Bowl, I just rolled it all into futures. And then when we won stuff early in the season, I was like, all right, I'm going to roll this into WNBA or some other, like you roll it into whatever. Like our like 70% of our player prop bets for MLB futures are tracking. Jung-Hoo Lee is having like a monster week. He was the one that I was worried about. He's tracking fine now. He was tracking.
I'm rooting so bad for Shota Whip. When you texted me the fact that Shota had
let's get to that. This is perfect segue for the second section.
It is
of the show. Okay, so we haven't talked about the NL or AL Centrals in a bit, and the rightful order of things has started to develop. I mean, the Tigers are just bombed on the Astros and some other teams, and the Cubs, as you were talking about, like you can steal the line, but what did we discover that I thought was we have a couple bets left for dead, but also the Cubs have been left for dead, and they had a very, very good series against the Brewers. They didn't gain a ton because they're behind, but like I would argue that there's some confidence building on this thing. But
I would say, I mean, the cat's out of the bag in terms of what I was going to bring up as the surprise like stat that I just could not believe, which was for a guy that I believe his whip was almost like 2 through April. Yeah. And then he started to I think he had like 1 or 2 good starts, got hurt. Guy that we really like, Shota Imanaga, and a guy that also hopefully a future friend of the show, because we loved him last year. We loved him last year constantly on his outs to begin last season. And you and I we synced up in March. We're like, did you see Shota's end of the year?
Oh, we were so into him. He
wasn't tipping pitches anymore. Where like he's got his stuff back. Then he starts this season and looked awful in that Tokyo series and the next couple of starts. Kind of forgot about him. But if you look at the pitchers by WAR, at least from the beginning of this month so far,
which by the way,
top 10.
To cut you off, this also started with a text this morning where I was like, yeah, by the way, I don't know if our HOF Bets are actually dead. We have him for whip leader, like 40-1, which we have assumed was dead, and we have been calling a miss on our part, but it's not really a miss.
I can confirm that our Michael King wins leader bet is dead, but Shota whip leader is definitely not. I think, you know what's also amazing to me, and again, it's only August 21st. Did you know that the Chicago Cubs lead all of baseball in pitching WAR since August 1st?
Good to know. That's very good for a team that had been spiraling out.
So I think that one of the things with the Cubs, so you and I both have quite a lot of liability already on this team. At least for you and I don't know if I'm necessarily recommending putting more, but I do think that I have less concerns over some of their pitching going into the postseason when you've got Boyd, Shota, and then whatever you can get out of Soroka and Brown. And I mean, you're still going to have to patch up some stuff there for that third and fourth starter.
I don't know. Who would it be?
Talon. Tyon. Okay. It would be probably Tyon. He'd be fine. It's like So my point there is that I think the Cubs are actually weirdly now a little bit underrated. And we both also said that PCA is too good of a player to be as bad as he's been since the All-Star break. this is a guy that we were campaigning to win MVP at
Jim
11-1.
He's been terrible.
Yeah.
Since.
So I guess the thing that I'm asking, so between both the Tigers and the Cubs, one is there any action that we need to take on them right now? And then the second thing would be, who are we trying, if we're trying to look in our crystal ball, who are we projecting that this is going to be likely that matchup for them come October? And is there anything to do with that?
So let me just look this up. MLB playoff bracket. Okay, so first of all, the Tigers one's easy. If you do not have Tigers to make the LCS, do it now. It's probably,
you can probably still get plus money on that.
Yeah, probably plus 125, I would say. All right, so the bracket right now. Oh my God, Kansas City's in it. Oh my God. All right,
Kansas City is in as of right now.
No, they're 2.5 back. I don't want to talk about this today.
Okay,
I do not have. I don't want to.
Oh my God, what?
This is not an episode to bring back dead bets. The Rangers are definitely out of it. By the way, they're 5 games back.
I did say that we should lead this show with the Rangers, and then
I know. I thought it was funny.
JK, yeah.
Okay, so the Cubs are the 4, and if the play and are pretty locked into that 4. They're not. I don't think they're going to catch the Brewers. So, but what's interesting is that they would, if I'm the Brewers, this is just not what I want. They're going to catch the Brewers in the divisional.
Yep.
And if Padres, who, by the way, actually, I will say this, they will beat the Padres. The Padres are not a serious organization. I'm sorry. They're very enjoyable. It is a very trendy team to back at a lot of times, but I watched Dylan Cease again today. That is an unserious pitcher and this is just not a serious team.
I mean, losing King again, to me, not that I had a lot of interest in them to begin with to make a run, but once King came back and then had to immediately go back on the IL, to that, I don't know. It kind of was a cross off for me. Just
I literally went to the bathroom and I missed him coming back, and it was that short.
Yeah, it was like 3 outs or something.
It was 3 outs. Anyway, and he's not coming back. He's a free agent. So anyway, if I'm the Brewers, this is not what I want. I do not want my division rival that I overcame to be who, after I get a layoff because I'm the 1 seed. Like, this has all the makings of what happened with the Phillies last year.
Craig Counsell coming back into town.
Yeah, this is just,
there's going to be a lot.
I'm really glad we're labbing this live. Like, I know you're telling people, like, I don't know if you need to bet more Cubs to make the LCS is what you want.
What is that price? I'm trying to go see.
I don't know.
If I can
would
find
think the exact
right
against them and the Phillies, but because we'll talk about it. I don't think the Wheeler. Well, we can talk about it now. I don't think the Wheeler stuff matters as much, but
no, we're gonna save the Wheeler stuff here for
Kyle.
our guest, because I would love for Kyle to comment on that and also tell you that you're dumb for thinking. just to give you the pretext, everybody listening, the thread that was going back and forth this morning between Adam and I was related to the fact that Adam opened with, I don't think that Wheeler being out for the Phillies really matters that much. So just leave it there for now. And then I want to see what Kyle has to say. But all of a sudden, somebody who was so excited to get rid of Ranger Suarez and upset Philly Nation is now saying, oh, look, it's fine. It's fine having Suarez there as your third guy in the rotation.
Well, there are strategic reasons I said that, but yes, and we'll get to it. Okay, so all right, look at that Cubs one. We have Cubs Phillies in pocket. We did get it out on the show, so I don't want to hear people being like, "Oh, I didn't hear it." We gave it out months ago. But what is it now? If you either wanted that or if you wanted Cubs to LCS, because that's what I would take. Because if I'm the Brewers, I do not want the narrative of like having a week off for the Cubs and the Padres to battle each other, and then the Cubs to win that series, feel themselves, and then come into town and play them.
Yeah, I'd have to go back also and look at how Shota has fared against them. For some reason, I still can't get out of my head the game.
He's been good. That's why I like the under today. Today he made a couple of mistakes, but he's been good against them.
It looks like, okay, so I'm just seeing right here, FanDuel doesn't have the LCS stuff up right now, but that's also because I believe because there's still games going on. If you go and you see the finalists, though, I mean, you can still get Cubs Phillies 12-1. on FanDuel. Like, and I bet you can probably get a better price from a couple other books out there. I'm just looking to see is there any other Brewers ones? Yeah, so the only Brewers ones that I'm seeing, because I wanted to see if I could learn anything from that. So they have Brewers and Phillies at 6-1, and then they have Brewers and Padres 13-1. So obviously implied Cubs
that would be the Padres slipped out to the 6.
No, well, it would be that I guess it would be because that's right.
It'd be on the same side of their bracket.
Yeah. So it says it's Phillies or Mets, but I don't think you can do anything with the Mets right now. Dodgers and Brewers is plus 410. That's the favorite. And then if you go for the AL, which I just want to double check and see, can you get what is the finalist here? I still am kind of interested in Yankees Tigers.
I am too, man. I
can't get off of that one. Yeah. It's plus 750 is what I'm seeing on FanDuel. I might look to see if I can get that over at least 8. But I don't hate adding a little bit more liability there, just because again, who is the Tigers matchup would be against who? It would be against the 4-5, and the 4-5 is right now.
It would be the Yankees,
Boston, New York.
It'd be the Yankees in Boston or New York. But my argument would be take Yankees. Probably the bet you want then is actually Yankees to win the division.
Yeah, what is the Yankees?
3-1. I already checked it. It's like 3-1.
Oh no, I know, but I was seeing how many games they have to make up. Yeah. I might not be okay. I'd still look to see to make the LCS. So maybe I don't like that as much now that I'm thinking about this, because I do think that the Yankees are pretty locked into that 4-5. So,
well, we could talk about it next week.
I would avoid that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, well, let's just talk. Let's glaze the Phillies more. All right. Bring in Kyle. Bring him in. What's going on, KB?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Welcome. Look, I love your content. I love you as a human. You helped champion the DP before they took it off the books, by the way.
Sad day. What are we doing? That is just probably one of the biggest modern travesties in sports gambling is removing the double play.
That was us, right? It had to be us.
It had to have been.
LinkedIn messaged a biz dev person at Brazzers to be like, yeah, you should totally sponsor our segment that we do called the Daily DP. It's same audience. And they didn't write back.
You're working now on it's gone. Partnerships for VSiN with Brazzers and all these other,
it's there. Well, so look, I know Kyle, like I said, I know Kyle from me being loud in the press box while he was trying to do his job. Because Kyle's, while he has all the Philly sports, he is, he's really close with PLL and lacrosse. And I played a little bit in high school. I like lacrosse. We're all friends with Dan Newbert, so we have to like lacrosse. But just tell me what's a better rush? Cause I know you bet baseball and you're into baseball too. Seeing a 2-point play cash or a home run.
It's such a great question because I do feel like they are two different styles of the rush that it feels. I think with the 2-pointer, it depends on when it happens. Because if it happens early in the game, it's that was cool, early bet cash. Home run, I feel like no matter what inning a home run goes, you're juiced up about it. And it's just such a different feeling. The crack of the bat is just something that I think is the greatest sound in sports, honestly. And when you're winning money from the crack of the bat, that is just second to none. But I do love a great 2-point bet, and I can't wait for lacrosse to have just more expanded, styles of bets and everything.
Yeah.
But definitely I lean the home run, but the 2-point bet is definitely exhilarating.
It's pretty electric.
You know what's extremely gratifying also, Kyle, about the home run bet? So watching it live, obviously amazing. But there's a lot of times where you're busy, you're out, you're just checking. I'm checking the score app, and I'm just seeing okay, there's 6 pitches in this at bat. What's going to happen? And the next thing you see is the score just changes just from one pitch, and you're oh my goodness, just the most like menial thing, just seeing that number go from like a 3 to a 5. And you're like, yes, this is fucking awesome. Like
It's the
having that
best.
home run hit.
I had the best gambling day of my life during the 2023 NLD. No, it might have been the NLCS. When the Phillies just teed off against the Diamondbacks, I had parlayed Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos to hit home runs, and then I bet them all singles. It was unbelievable. They went back to back to back, and my bets cashed in the 4th inning, and I was
That's
like,
awesome.
this is incredible.
Oh my God.
I was like,
do you remember what the odds were on that?
It was like, I think the parlay had to have been like over 2,000, like over plus 2,000. I think I ended up winning like over $900.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I had the I was at Bedlam in the bank the year before, and I had live bet. First of all, it was raining. That game was miserable up until that. Were you at that game?
I wasn't there, but just watching it on TV and watching
it was miserable.
Like, the fact that they didn't like postpone or like kind of do a rain delay or something as the ball gets by JT when Sir Anthony throws it.
Oh yeah, it was miserable. And then I live bet. We were walking around the stadium, and I live bet Harper next plate appearance, extra base hit at like pretty solid odds, and like he just smashed that one, and the place just wouldn't shut up. It was awesome. And then I drove all the way back to Boston, and then got fired the next day. It was actually, but it was otherwise it was a great experience. So this is going to tie to a text exchange with CJ this morning. All right. So, Zach Wheeler has a blood clot and is out indefinitely, not a timetable, which is interesting, but whatever. And Kyle Schwarber doesn't want to be Mr. June anymore. Now he's Mr. August and September.
It's global warming.
Right. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That's really good. Who is more important to this team? Because we get into this every October. Who is more important to this team? Kyle Schwarber's performance or Zach Wheeler being part of this team?
I do think it's wildly unfortunate that Zach Wheeler is out. Like that's a brutal hit just from I said it before the season started. I said it as soon as the Phillies traded for Jesus Luzardo. I was like, this team is going to go as far as their starting pitching will allow them to go. And it's genuinely, when they were all healthy, the deepest rotation we have seen since the Phillies have had since 2011. And honestly, the way things were rolling for a long time, I was like, are they going to be better than the 2011 rotation? Which is saying a lot because you had Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, Cole Hamels, Joe Blanton still in that rotation too.
Dude, yeah, Joe Blanton, who looks like a kid that like used to take other people's lunch money.
And I was like, this rotation can be incredibly good and really carry this team to wherever they want to go. And obviously that's winning a World Series. You remove a perennial Cy Young Award candidate who has been robbed twice in the last 4 years of a Cy Young from this rotation. It shortens the depth of the rotation, I think, a lot more than what Phillies fans are realizing right now, especially coming off that Mariners series.
And one of them on this stream with you, Kyle. Yeah.
and I think a lot of it is just like early now because the Mariners series was so wildly successful for the starting pitching. You have 34 combined strikeouts from your starters. Luzardo and Sanchez both have 12 strikeouts. Ranger goes 10. I think it's a Phillies franchise record for most strikeouts in a 3-game series by your starting rotation in a series, which is crazy to think about. But I think as you go on and not having that kind of like calming presence when you get into October of Zach Wheeler, where you go out there, you trust Zach Wheeler to give you 7 innings and you're good to go. And especially with this bullpen, you add Duran at the deadline. Kerkering, if you bring him in when there's no runners on base, he looks phenomenal. Strom has really turned his season around. Like, you get to that back end of the bullpen with your starters, you're looking like the best pitching staff in baseball right now. But you remove Zach Wheeler from that, it changes a lot of the dynamic and what you're, because going into, this stretch run, a lot of people are talking about, hey, do you put Ranger Suarez in the bullpen? Do you put Luzardo in the bullpen? I don't think either of those guys can go in the bullpen now going into the playoffs.
I agree. So I'm glad. So this is what I said, because Adam was trying to convince me this morning okay, that I don't even have the original text pulled up here because I just have the one where he just started just shitting on my Mets as part of this, because it turned into a conversation that was about, hey, like, what does this team look like? Is there a bet? To, hey, I'm just going to talk to you about your team having no starting pitching. That's fine.
That's not the way.
Exactly
The question was,
so,
you had said.
So here's what I said back to Adam. Yeah. So I had said, well, first off, I said, save this for the guest segment tonight, but I vehemently disagree. And he said, that's fine. Your team has no starters. So I would assume that. But then I came back. So this is what I said to him, Kyle. And this is where I said, okay, I got you, bitch. Because I said, just tell me this 3 weeks ago. And you brought this up. If I had told you could have had Wheeler, Sanchez, Nola, Suarez, or Luzardo out of the pen, or option B, Sanchez, Nola, Suarez, Luzardo, no Wheeler, which of those two scenarios would you pick? And he immediately responded, well, I'd obviously take the one with Wheeler. So I said, yeah. I said, of course. Like, I don't think my whole point with Wheeler being out is that it doesn't necessarily mean, like, the Phillies are still a World Series contender. I'm still feeling good about the exactas that we placed on them, especially potentially going against the Cubs or the Tigers in the World Series. My biggest thing is what you brought up, is that it has to have Thompson make some harder decisions now, because now you have to obviously Sanchez is great. We love him. But then, okay, I'm trusting Nola, who looked horrible, was hurt for most of the season. Now he's got to be regular Aaron Nola. You have Suarez and Luzardo, who we both know have questions, at least coming into the postseason. And you've also got 3 lefties and 1 righty. So you got to figure out how you're going to be able to balance that piece out. So this team still has the lineup. If they hit, it won't matter. Last season, they had great starting pitching. Their bullpen stunk, but they had great starting pitching. They just couldn't hit. But now you're putting a lot more. There's just other areas of the team that you're going to have to rely a little bit more heavily on in terms of the hitting, some of these starters stepping up, and the bullpen. And I do think it kind of, it reduces their ceiling a little bit from where I thought they were clearly, after the Duran trade, the favorite to win the NL.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of this has been alleviated too with the complete 180 of Taijuan Walker this year.
Yeah.
Like, is he blowing people away with his stuff? No, but he's like a tactical, like, I'm going to go out there, throw, low 90s, on my fastball and get guys out. And the fact that he's been able to do that has really alleviated a lot of, what could have been even bigger hardships for this team. And I do see the issue, and it's been in the back of my head ever since the Wheeler news came out, with the 3 lefties and 1 righty and kind of what you do there. I also think when you look at somebody like Christopher Sanchez, he's almost like matchup proof in terms of, like, yes, he's a lefty, but like, he's going to make any batter that steps into that batter's box look absolutely stupid.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, you both bring up great points. The one thing I want to say, and then we can shit on the Brewers, is that shout out Trevor, is that I think that the Duran coming over made it so that everybody in the bullpen has a role, which they didn't before. And that was the problem. And that's actually always been Topper's problem, is that he's very much he's like, the one thing he does well is that if a guy has a bad game, he goes right back to the next day, which is a really good thing to do for confidence. We all remember in Alvarado against the Cardinals, like, he went right back to him after he blew that game, and they won it the next game. They swept the Cardinals. But and so everybody has that. So that obviously puts less of a burden backwards on the starters. But the big concern that I do have is that it's very hard to navigate 3 straight lefties unless you put in a pitcher that's missed 2/3 of the season. And I think that this team from the get-go was kind of built for a 6-man. And I think we can all agree that that was what they wanted to do. I'm not lowering the ceiling as much, only because like, I can get there on the fact that everybody has really low innings this year. So the ceiling for everybody is really good. Like, I was looking at Christopher Sanchez on Monday, and I ended up taking his over outs. And the thing I look at when I look at outs is, where's the guy now compared to what his innings were last year, or what they think he is. He's like 40 innings. He missed 1 start, and they have timed him so well that he is nowhere close to his innings from last year, and he's arguably the best pitcher on the staff.
And he's had a complete game this year, and he went 8 innings a couple weeks ago, too.
And he's been doing it back to back to back. And so, and then Ranger, again, is that thing. And I think the biggest wild card is Nola on, I was not a Nola believer when he was healthy, but I'm a very big Nola believer right now on the fact that he has very low innings and he has big game stuff. And his injuries were weird. But I think that this team will be okay with that. Like, I don't have a Wheeler playoff moment. In fact, I remember like a couple like hard luck Wheeler thing. Like the Wheeler starts I remember from the playoffs were all like, World Series game where Rhys Hoskins decided to strike out 4 times. And that Padres game where actually we blew the lead and then Harper saved it. So it's, to me, I guess
game one of the NLDS last year too. By the way,
yeah,
he had a fantastic start, and
he just never gets run support.
He never gets run support, and I think that's the thing is that we're built to withstand this, but it goes back to if there is if Schwarber looks like Castellanos and Castellanos looks like a guy in the later rounds of the playoffs, not divisionals. We all know he's hitting 3 home runs in the first round of whatever we're in. That's where I have a problem, and I'm worried about this team. And I think that's where Dombo's job's on the line because he didn't get another bat. He went and he got Bader. So we'll see. But I feel good. I just don't like not having another righty. So
what I do like about what Topper's been doing lately is essentially turning the outfield into an outfield rotation. You're getting guys off their feet. Nick Castellanos was the Iron Man last year, didn't miss a single game for most of the start of the season up until, he got benched in Miami, didn't miss a single game. So like he's got, and not that, playing the outfield is wear and tear on your body per se, but like standing around and kind of not moving can like get into a guy's head. And Castellanos has been on the record talking about like, yeah, when I'm standing out in the outfield, like I think about different things other than baseball. Like that's just the type of guy he is. And I love his entire family. They subscribe to my podcast. Like they're great.
Really?
People.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
they've
so
been
cool.
Following us since Nick was in Cincinnati in 2021.
Oh, that's really awesome,
this
dude.
Is nuts. But like, I think it's going to be helpful for these guys. And it's really worked out well lately. Like I was at the game yesterday and everyone's like, why is Castellanos not in? Kepler's playing right field. It sounds silly, but I always go back to when you see guys switching from right field to left field and vice versa. I always think about the quote that Jordan Mailata had and talking about guys playing left tackle and right tackle and how it's like almost being like you're right-handed and you're trying to, right or draw left-handed. And it's not as big of a thing, but I do feel like Kepler playing left field a lot of this season, where he was a right fielder in Minnesota, has like really like altered his like thinking of like, hey, I have to be like over the top and like be dialed in because I'm playing a new position, and it's really affected him at the plate. But when he plays right field, don't fact check me. It feels like he plays a lot better at the plate when he's playing right field.
Yeah, well, he's been on a tear since we all said DFA him.
Right.
Which was when he moved over there and they moved Marsh over to left and they were able to get Bader in there and Marsh at the same time. He looks great.
And I think Marsh is a superior left fielder to what he is in center field. And I don't think he's a bad center fielder. I just think he's a better
He doesn't
left
have the
fielder.
speed for it is the problem.
And Bader showed me something that it looks like he's played center field at Citizens Bank Park his whole career yesterday or a couple nights ago. When he played that ball off of Monty's angle, when it bounced off, that's the exact spot JT Realmuto hit that inside the park home run during the 2022 playoffs. The fact that he was able to play that, it makes things a lot easier for Topper, where it's like, yeah, I can push buttons here, and it makes our bench deeper. It makes our fielding deeper. And I think that's where it comes into play. And overall, the Phillies bats, I think, are going to be what's most important to October's success because they do have elite pitching.
So let's talk about, we mentioned that we were going to trash the Brewers here a little bit. And we know as it stands right now, if season ends today, Phillies would not play the Brewers until the NLCS. Brewers look pretty locked in to that one seed at this point. What, in your opinion, Kyle, is the team that scares the Brewers the most?
I think I think there's like 2.5 teams that scare the Brewers.
So most of the NL playoff field besides the Brewers.
And one of the teams is the Brewers themselves, because we've seen them in the playoffs the past couple of seasons, and they do this every year where they go on this surge, and this year has been a lot more over the top than in years past.
It was literally June 1 until like the entire summer was summer of Brewers.
They go on this surge, and then the playoffs roll around, and they look like the April Brewers again. They did it last year against the Mets, and they let that sneech Pete Alonso hit that home run. He looks like a sneech from Dr. Seuss.
He does.
Side by side.
He has a really interesting looking face.
How dare you slander the Mets home run leader, Polar Bear Pete Alonso?
Home
it's
run
such
record.
A low number, by the way. It's an absurd number for an organization that's been around as long as they have.
It's crazy.
Keep going.
But I think the Brewers, that they are one of those teams that like can do it to themselves and really falter internally more than whoever they're playing against. And I know, we had the most Mickey Mouse all-star in Mizorowski this year. Good for the kid, but he's got an almost 5 ERA right now. He is not good. The fact that Christopher Sanchez was not an all-star over him is still crazy to me. They have talent, but a lot of their talent is wildly overperforming. I don't think Andrew Vaughn is going to be nuking home runs the way that he is when October rolls around. That guy was left for dead in Chicago, goes to the Brewers, and turns into Babe Ruth. These guys are overperforming, and good on their manager for having them rocking and rolling right now. But we've seen it year in and year out that when October comes up on the calendar, the Brewers turn into a pumpkin.
I mean, I remember my first Brewers playoff. Well, I mean, there's a couple Brewers playoff memories I have, but I was at that. I guess it was the NLDS. It was 2008 when and the key thing, the key moment of that game was CC Sabathia was on the mound and Brett Myers. This is back when pitchers still batted.
Yep. And
Brett Myers battled for a 16 pitch at bat. And he struck out, but it was 16 pitches, and immediately what Shane Victorino did was nuked one for a grand slam, and it just buried that team because the guy in front of him because the pitcher gave him pitch protection. It was amazing. My whole thing on that team is exactly what you said, and I've said this before, is that this team not only wildly overpour, they're the best team in the league at soft hitted ground balls, which sounds like a nerd metric, but it means that you're beating things out by speed and you're getting kind of lucky. And 0-2 pitches, they're batting 200, which is absurd because that should be an out. So they're basically winning every coin flip. So great fundamental baseball, but yeah, that team, I don't know, whatever. I mean, CJ, have you thought about this question too on your end? Who do you?
I mean,
as a non-biased Phillies fan,
we talked about. Well, I'll tell you, it's not the Mets. I don't think they should be scared at all of the Mets. So just clear that up right now. Even though, shame on you again. No Klondike bars for you, Kyle, from the Pete Alonso slander. But I do actually think, though, we talked about the Cubs. I don't think that's a team that the Brewers match up well against in the playoffs, especially given the power that you can get from the Cubs. Cubs, by the way, sneakily, I think they're the best team, even with their recent slump in terms of hitting on the road this season. They had a 117 WRC plus on the road, so just keep that in mind. I think the other team, I think the Phillies obviously could be trouble for them, but I do think the Dodgers are also a bad matchup for the Brewers so basically the 2, 3, and 4 seeds are all bad matchups for the Brewers, which does not really indicate good things for them. But historically, the Dodgers they are so good at hitting right-handed pitching, and I'd have to go back and double check some of the stuff from how the Brewers starting pitching has been against lefties in the last 6 to 8 weeks. But that is a team that veteran presence, team that hits right-handed pitching well, has been there. And I could easily see just sort of the veteran mentality of coming in there and not, they're not going to be afraid at all. No. And the thing with the Brewers is no one's afraid of this team. As great of a media story as they've been, as much as we are grateful for getting to use Trevor's StreamYard account for the first 4 months of the show, I don't think anybody is necessarily scared of the Brewers. And you've got guys like Woodruff and Quintana who are also very shaky starters that are going to be coming into the postseason. That you're going to, guys that can have a lot of variance in between some of those starts. So, yeah, I mean, look, we could be sitting here in 2 months with our pants down and the Brewers are in the World Series. I'll eat crow. But I'm looking kind of at the field as it's developing. And for a team that just doesn't hit with power, it just doesn't typically work out that well for you in the playoffs. Whereas the 2, 3, and 4 teams all could hit with power in a short series.
Isn't it crazy that the Brewers are where they are and they were the first victims of the torpedo bat saga early this year?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Their run differential was in the tank, and now they're at a plus 165 run differential.
We said some nice things about the Brewers on Monday, by the way, real quick, just to say that we still think that Pat Murphy at minus 190, he should be a much bigger favorite.
He should be minus 2,000. So. Like we're gonna have the weakest rookie of the year class since 2009, because it's all by which by the way, Chase Burns early bet next year because he'll be eligible. But it's that team is just like we looked at it, like you can't hit for power and you can't change. Generally speaking, being on base is what makes you a threat to win a game. But if you don't have a guy who's able to bop home runs, like Yelich had his injury earlier in the season. Like, this is a lot of miles on Yelich, man. He's got a bad back. He's had back surgery multiple times. Like, this is not what I want. So anyway, I mean, look, this is all feeding their fuel. They love this, as like they love hearing us hate on them, but I'm not. I agree with you. I think the Brewers could kind of implode on themselves like they have every year, because we've seen this story before and it's fine, but they could just they could be like the Buffalo Bills, where it's just like keep doing it and then we just aren't able to get over that other hump. So CJ, what else do you want to ask Kyle, or do we want to jump into want to take him to dad moves? What do we want to do?
Let's take him to dad moves. I feel like we've got a good bow on the NL right here.
Good bow. So real quick pause, thanking our friends of the pod and sponsor, Hall of Fame Bets. If you're watching, there's a QR code, boop, boop, boop. Use code DADS. You get 50% off your first month. We showed you earlier how we use it. It is awesome. It is a deep research tool. You can also use our site, handygraphs.com. HG Dads gets you $10 off the rest of the year. That does not mean that you're only gonna have baseball. We have hockey coming. We have other things coming. It's gonna be great. So dad moves is basically a recommendation or something really awesome from this past week that you would be like, you would just be really happy flexing and giving as advice, or your dad might give you as advice, or your mom might give you as advice, but like a parent would give this as advice of like, here's a cool life hack. And it's kind of come into its own. It started with our producer, Trevor, saying, always have giant garbage bags in your house. And he described how he eliminated a giant bird from his backyard, but it's molded into like the importance of tablets, at Tony boxes. It kind of shifts all over the place. So you, as our guest, and pools, Spencer has pointed out, and also how important a pool is. What is give us a dad move, your recommendation of the week?
Oh, that's
something that's a good tip for everybody.
Let's see. That's a great question, honestly. I think my biggest one that I've learned, just like being in media and always needing to be on your phone, invest in portable chargers. Invest in those things. Have 2 or 3 just in your backpack, in your, little side bag that you carry with you. Have those things on you, because you never know, when your phone's going to die. You never know if you're going to get stuck somewhere. Have your phone being charged is like essential in 2025. Keep portable chargers on you at all times.
That's a good call. Good one.
All right, Kyle, I'm gonna add to that one, because that actually parlays quite nicely into my dad move, which is always have your phone charged, because you might need that mobile hotspot. Okay, yes. So the cellular data. All right, most people you have phone plans with unlimited data. If you don't, I'm sorry, go get unlimited data. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I mean, why wouldn't you have it at this point?
Yeah, why would you have that?
But the I can't tell you how many times I have been like, all right, I need to keep my phone at least above 30% because I'm going to need that cellular network at some point because my Wi-Fi might be going down. I might have to record a podcast like, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes before the show where I thought I might have to go on my cellular wireless. So that would be just another thing I would add is like, you might think like having your phone, at like 50, 60% is good. But man, when you get down to like 25, 30%, and all of a sudden you need to get a Wi-Fi connection and your Wi-Fi stinks or you can't get access, that personal hotspot, it's always sitting there and it burns through your phone's battery so fast. So charge your phone, portable chargers, and always remember that you have that personal hotspot.
That's good. You guys get good. These are good ones. Mine is gum, and don't buy 1 packs of gum. Buy like 7 of them and put them all over the place where you normally are. And the reason why, so in general, like as a regular person, if you don't have kids, it's great because you're like, oh, like maybe like have some gum, your breath doesn't smell, that kind of thing. But if you have kids, you tend to run around and chase them a lot and you don't get to drink a lot of water. So like when you get dehydrated, your breath does smell. If you have gum everywhere, you basically never really can run into this risk of like, oh man, like I could just pop this in right now. I have gum hidden in my couch near our TV remotes. I have gum in my car. I have gum in my sock drawer. I have it basically in all the places that I like chase my kids. So gum, very important. Keep it everywhere. Buy it in bulk, and then no one will say, as we say to Nora, no one will say, "Hey, you have really stinky breath. I don't want to be your friend," which my wife says is a super aggressive thing to say to her. But I want her to learn that she shouldn't be a close talker if she hasn't brushed her teeth. So.
As my sister and I like to say, I keep the non-addictive Zins on me.
Oh, nice. The let the minutes reflect. That was Icebreaker Mints. Kyle, you have been an awesome guest. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. You can follow my podcast and podcast network at Underground PHI on all social platforms. We cover Philly sports. We have our lacrosse podcast, Outside the Box. We have a motorsports podcast with a brother-sister duo that is popping off and absolutely incredible to watch. We cover pro soccer. We cover golf. We do it all. But if you just follow Underground Sports Philadelphia, you'll find it all. And we got PLL playoffs coming up this weekend, too, to couple up with some weekend baseball, which is exciting. And to double up on that, I do have a Christopher Sanchez Cy Young futures.
Nice. We're all King Christie guys. We love
1,400.
Nice.
Feeling good.
Look,
about
you know what? That should have everyone said, everyone said, oh, Skeens. Then Christopher Sanchez came out and had a 12K start and was like, not so fast, man. I'm going to have counting metrics too. So I love it.
It's like a dead heat, honestly.
It is. It really should be a dead heat.
Skeens has the whip, which is the key thing there. But look, you can have 1 or 2 bad starts and Sanchez could overtake him there. So
I also wanted to ask you guys too.
Yeah.
Can the Major League Baseball writers actively give Shohei Ohtani the MVP when he has an ERA like near 5?
I think that I used to think that there was Ohtani fatigue, but there isn't. They're just enamored with him because like the look on a baseball writer's face when they see him hit a home run live, especially when he has a pending legal case, it's kind of obnoxious because what's happening now on that MVP is the same thing that's happening on the Rookie of the Year. Like PCA spiraled out so aggressively that like Kyle Schwarber's not the MVP. Like, I mean, I have Kyle Schwarber for home run leader, but it's not the same kind of thing. And I think that just they're enamored with Ohtani, and they should be enamored with Judge. Like I wish Judge actually we had a whole episode on this. Judge, I wish Judge got the glazing that Ohtani gets. I love Ohtani. I think Ohtani and Judge are 2 of the best baseball players in the world. But like what Ohtani did last year compared to what he did this year, like his team's mid. Like it's just and Judge has, he's struggling with some NPCs, but he still carries that entire team, So
yeah, and a nice little fun lacrosse bet for the weekend. I love Chaos plus 1.5 this weekend against the California Redwoods.
All right, we'll do that. The Water Dogs, I
Note
assume, did
that.
not make the playoffs.
They did. They are
Oh, they
playing
did?
this weekend against the Maryland Whipsnakes. Tough to beat a team twice. Those two teams are trying to beat each other for the second time this year. Water Dogs are favored. That's going to be a very good game. But Carolina and California, two first-year head coaches going toe-to-toe with each other. Chaos's head coach was snubbed for head coach of the year in the end-of-year awards, so I think that's a little motivation for that.
Oh, I like the narrative.
And Carolina this year took down the Denver Outlaws twice for 2 of their 3 losses. If Carolina advances, they'll go to the semifinals in Philadelphia on Labor Day to take on the Denver Outlaws. Sprinkle a little bit on the Chaos to make the PLL championship.
I love
Great,
it.
great analysis. And also, I'm glad, Kyle, that you're the first guest we've had on for talking about another sport other really than baseball since Dean. And the last time we had somebody come on to talk about another sport, he proceeded to show us a 7-minute YouTube video of a darts championship after we couldn't get him on for about a half hour. So that was great, Kyle. That's why you're a pro.
Yeah, dude, you are pro.
You know, we do
dude.
it for the people.
Yeah, dude, it was great. Thanks, sir. I'm glad you came. Glad you came by. We're definitely gonna do this again. I'm definitely gonna get down there for October baseball. We'll jam. But for this is an awesome, again, another banger of an episode produced by producer Spencer. He is at Spencer_Ray RAY. CJ Slippin' Jimmy is at Dad's That Bet, at Dad's Bet Baseball. You can find across all platforms: Twitch, YouTube, Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. Don't be that guy who just said, I'm gonna give him a 1-star review and still subscribe. Don't do that. That brings down the whole rating and it's not cool. But leave comments, do all that stuff. We love it. You guys have been great. We've been growing like crazy. That's why Hall of Fame Bets was like, yeah, we're gonna sponsor you through football season, and we're gonna have some football stuff, so it'll be a lot of fun. But there is nothing else that I have. So CJ, I'm gonna throw it to you for the final word. And what is the final word?
Oh, crap. Judge is the final word.